We're back, dude. I had to convince this guy to drive 8 hours down to Florida so we could get together and do video. We've both been really busy. He's been busy with school, a lot going on. But we're gonna do what? We're gonna actually do the best of season 1. This is what this.
Best.
Yeah.
We need to do it best. We've had 10 episodes. That's a lot. A lot's happened in a year, you know?
Yeah.
What's happened in a year since, for you?
A lot of
What
things.
happened since we started SmackTalk for you?
Jesus.
Anything exciting?
Helicopter-wise? Private life-wise?
In your life.
I've gotten married.
Oh, man.
I've left a previous sponsorship deal. A lot of stuff.
That's crazy.
A lot of stuff. You're about to graduate.
I'm about to graduate college.
Yeah.
And,
so
just lots of crazy stuff.
So we're gonna we're gonna show the best of season 1. So we're gonna go almost episode by episode and show all the informative, I guess, stuff and all the highlights of all the crazy times and the good outtakes and the stuff that didn't actually make it.
Yeah, we've got a few things that we just found actually. They're good.
Yeah,
they're real good. He doesn't want to post some of them. I don't want to post some of them. But we
between us, we're arguing what we're gonna post, but it's gonna be interesting. So
we gotta put it in there.
Bobby's got my guitar. I bought that thing like
green.
20 years ago.
The purple cord.
He says he can play. He actually can play pretty good. And he's the composer of season one's song.
Yeah, that's
SmackTalk
my old band, dude. We recorded that in like some garage in like 3 hours.
And you actually already have
really
season 2's song ready to go, which is very similar, but it's actually it's kicking it up a little notch.
We reworked it. We made it into like a 7-minute epic. And if you guys saw, what was it, episode 7, the maintenance one? Yeah. Rick came over for that one. We were filming at home, and in my room. That's my room, where the big workbench and the door. It's just some sketchy old room. And Rick actually headbanged for the entire. I was just playing the demo of our new SmackTalk song that you guys will see on season 2. And Rick was just headbanging. Dude, it was like a 5-minute headbang.
Yeah.
And you put the whole clip.
No.
You edited that one.
No, I put about half of it. But it was
It was excessive.
I almost pissed my pants. Yeah, that was too much.
He was headbanging with the noodle. So, we're going to kick it off. This is, season 1, sort of best of sort of deal. And, hopefully you guys will be around for season 2. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We've learned a lot. It's going to be cool.
Yeah.
So I believe the intro... I think it's that note. No. Yeah, this is it.
So what are we going to talk about? Just remembering things, huh?
We got to remember the best, man.
The highlights.
Whenever I see these highlight shows on TV, it's like, they do the best of, haha, sort of thing. But we're going to tell you a little bit about, what we learned, because I feel like I always learn something in every episode.
I did too. I learned things from you.
Say it or I say it. Yeah. And then like when, we're interviewing people, we learn all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So we'll tell you the stuff that we learn in every episode, and then, the funny
things
stuff.
That we think are actually important that people will kind of remember, one of those things that kind of tips and tricks or things that pop to mind.
Exactly.
That are sort of like, I don't know, important about an episode.
Yeah, cool things. And then we have
the funny stuff. And the screw ups.
And the screw up. Oh yeah, if you guys don't realize, we screw up stuff all the time. Like I do it terribly. Like I'll get like halfway through a take and just blow a word, and then after that it'll just all go downhill from there.
Lately we've just let it go.
Oh, we don't care anymore.
It's not that we don't care. It takes a lot of work to cut and redo. Which, by the way, we haven't gotten to episode 2. Let's start with episode 1. Yeah, but I just remember it was screw up on episode 2. That's awesome. Right, we had to redo this.
We'll get to that. Okay, so episode 1, if people didn't know, episode 1 was we just tried. Yeah. We just went out there and that first intro segment we did with
we didn't even have a name. It was nothing. For SmackTalk. No. The first time we started shooting this, sitting at that green table. It was
after your Fun Fly.
Yeah, it was after the Orlando Fun Fly.
And that was a 20-some minute, wasn't it like a 17-minute clip?
Yeah, we had to shorten it down to like 9 minutes to be able to make the episode a total of 45.
Oh, stupid. And then it just kind of spawned from there. You filmed the rest here in Florida.
Yeah.
I went back home to Maryland, and I filmed the rest back up there. That's when we had Rick on as the interview. So that one right there, we just kind of put sort of a sequence together of what we thought SmackTalk should be. So what did we learn in SmackTalk, number 1? That was nitro, motor tuning, and maintenance.
Correct. And there was a lot of good information on that episode.
Yeah. I think we're going to show you a sequence where Bert tells you just kind of the basics of tuning. You went out there to the field and show. I think you blew up one of your motors.
Yeah, I actually burned that motor.
Yeah, he leaned it out
Nobody knows about this, but yes, I run it so lean that I believe the following weekend I went to Orlando to fly, and the motor was literally toast. Yeah, it blew up.
But, thank you, dude. You did the world a favor.
You're welcome, guys.
So we did that. I also I took apart the motor, told you guys how to change parts in there, and I actually had a tip that we were sitting reading. It was RC Heli magazine, and I was telling a tip of putting like a soft cloth, paper towel,
through the exhaust port
to help
you remove the sleeve.
And you can turn it.
I actually learned that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and RC Heli magazine put it in there, and they saw it on our site. So that's awesome that information like that's getting from just sort of our basement out to everybody. And then it was the introduction of probably
to Brother
we don't
Rick.
have a mascot, but if there were to be a mascot, it would be like some long-haired,
absolutely,
sort of Rick guy. So we had him. A lot of people
didn't understand who this guy was. All right, so let's roll the highlights of number 1.
Episode 1 highlights. Here we go.
Aside from that, we have to kind of understand the differences between a 2 and a 3 needle carb. 3 needle carbs are capable of regulating your 3 ranges. So your engine has 3 ranges of operation. It has your low end, your mid range, and your high end. The 2 needle carb has 2 needles, one for the low end and one for the high end. Your low end needle is basically a screw. It looks like a screw. And your high end looks like a normal needle. So both of those needles are controlling the mid-range at the same time. In other words, if you lean the low end too much, you're leaning your low end, but that kind of bleeds through the entire range. So your mid-range is getting leaner too. Motor is pulling pretty good. How do I know I can get more power out of this motor? For most people, this would be a good power setup right here. See, I know I can get more power out of this motor because I'm used to the power that I can get. So I'm going to go ahead and lean it, and I'm going to start going here about a couple of clicks at a time.
I think this one's been ran hot. Okay, another solution that we can do here is to take a t-shirt or something like that and stick it in the exhaust hole. This can happen every once in a while. And just turn it with your finger, the crankshaft, and the towel will pop the sleeve out just a little bit so you can grab it with your finger. Beautiful. Now, in the AMA magazine, you said that you're my spiritual advisor and my guru sensei. What is that?
Well, that's just more or less like a celestial guide, kind of like an omniscient overlord type thing.
So I'm your overlord.
No, actually, I'm the overlord.
And in that clip, Rick is the overlord. He is the overlord.
The overlord. What the hell does that mean?
The overlord. I don't even know. Over my head. So that was episode 1. That was the beginning. So then we came right back at it. I came down for another weekend. I came to Florida. We came to the Torches Field in Orlando, and we filmed episode 2, which was Sport Pilot to 3D Maniac. And in that episode,
that was a fun weekend. That was a good
cool.
time. Yeah.
It was windy. Windy as all hell.
Very windy as usual in Florida.
Yep.
What were the highlights of that? We had a Ray interview. This is one of those things our friend Ray Morey, we decided to bring him on the show. We thought it would be funny. We had a lot of compliments. We had a lot of
That one was the most polar. Like, guys really loved him, or guys like hated him.
Really hated him. So yeah, so
but I think
he's a sweetheart though.
Oh,
he
nicest guy in the world, dude.
Talk without cussing. So. But he's still a sweetheart.
So good thing we didn't do that in episode like 8, because after a while we kind of bleeped out all the cuss words, if you guys haven't noticed, because he wouldn't have made it on the show, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I agree.
But nicest guy in the world. So I'm glad we could introduce you to that. We did some stuff. You talked about like some symmetry and placement in some of your flights.
Mixing up the flying and stuff like
mixing
that.
it up. I talked about kind of how I do some basic stuff, and I flew around. I talked about some like aerobatic autos and whatnot.
You did the aerobatic autos,
yeah. You talked about like TikToks as a. Remember you had your 600. There's a scene in
Yeah,
see,
I was flying I was showing rainbows and
TikTok. It was TikTok. It was tight TikToks.
And I had my 600 fly bar. Actually, I was a little bit pissed off, and I was a little bit aggravated because I had just had an incident. Which we'll get to. So I was just trying to show these TikToks, and I almost buried the helicopter in the middle of the TikTok.
But you bury it, and then you come out and you do some sort of pirouette transition.
But I actually even said it on video. Like, you can hear me say, I almost buried it.
And I almost buried it. That's the guy. Yeah. And then we get to our first unseen clip of season 1. This was great. So I'm out there filming, and Bert has his yellow canopy T-Rex 700. It took you like 4 attempts.
Flybarless.
Flybarless. The flybarless stuff like just came out, and you just switched to it. And we were out there. It took him like 4 times 5 attempts at this.
Literally, like
it was like
four
full
5-minute flights.
Yeah, they were full flights almost.
And I'm like, Bobby, that didn't work. You're like, it's not too bad. So we'll did a second one. And you're like, no, that's better. I'm like, no, that still sucks. And then we did a third one. You're like, dude, that one sucked. I'm like, really?
Yeah. So we do another one.
Yeah, so we're doing like 4.
You're talking about, be confident with your maneuvers. Keep them at a nice height. You don't even impress anyone. You start TikToking it, wham! And I'm glad, like, I jerked the camera a little bit, but I left it rolling, and you had, like, the best line ever. So we're not going to ruin it for you guys. But here is the best of our episode 2, Sport Pilot to 3D Maniac. Here we go. Featuring this guy crashing the shit out of his stuff.
Probably.
Why? Because I'm down here looking for a transplant.
Or for what?
Ta-da!
Alright, so now I'm going to show you how some of the basics translate into my style. I feel like my style is kind of basic sometimes. I use some really simple figures and shapes and patterns, different maneuvers that I do in the air that are really pretty easy, and they just build off some of the fundamentals that we were talking about. So I'm going to go out and just show you some of the things that I would do in every flight and kind of break it down for you. We also here have our tranny cam so you can see my stick movements. So hope you enjoy. Now the snake is a mix of backwards inverted flight as well as backwards right side up. I'm going to break it down for you just a second.
We're going to talk a little bit about repetition, how important it is not to repeat what you're doing several times throughout the flight. We're going to talk about taking the helicopter big, small. We're going to talk about fast and slow. And then we're going to talk a little bit about placement and symmetry and altitude. Once you master that, then you can tighten it into metronomes. I almost buried it. But that's basically the concept there. This is very important that you guys are comfortable with your basics. Say you're having a little difficulty with this maneuver, you're not comfortable, you do it high, then you bring it down in the deck. And then you do something simple. Or something that was perfect. That's the result of flying a flight. That's awesome.
Dude, you buried that sucker.
I did. That was the stupidest crash ever.
You didn't want to film. You didn't want to show it. No, we can't put that in the outtakes. No, we can't.
Yeah, that was the dumbest crash ever, though. It was just.
That's good. That's a good one.
Pushing a little bit too low unnecessarily, and I was like, it doesn't matter how high you fly as long as you keep it consistently high. And then I bring it low and crash it like an idiot. Oh well, shit happens.
Episode 3.
3. What happened on 3? You actually drove again.
Again?
Just like you did this time.
9 hours.
9 hours.
Yep.
We had the Port Charlotte fun fly.
That was Port Charlotte.
So you came. We met at Port Charlotte first.
Yeah, I was about to back out. You're like, oh, come on down. I'm like, all right. So I leave there. I left from school in South Carolina.
Yeah, and you actually went there. And
I drove 9 hours. When I got there, it's raining as all hell.
So we came to my place, and we did the number 3, which was setups.
We had green screen then, dude. Yeah. That was the. Why'd you want the green screen?
I saw this video of Derek, RCLA Resource, with this nice, I don't even know what he was shooting.
It was
I think it was a 3G setup video.
It was like a white background, and you're like, dude, Derek's got it. We got to have it.
Yeah, so we worked on it, and ours was kind of crappy, but actually ours has gotten better. But it's a lot of work, so that's why you haven't seen much of green screen lately. Yeah.
So you have to do everything twice.